Alright, welcome back. So we are going to now start making our web page, and to do this we are going to use GitLab. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but GitLab is just like GitHub. The difference is that GitLab is on our own Alfred University servers. So the advantage to doing it that way is, one, it's free. GitHub is free, except for with GitHub, every time you make a repository, then it's public. Everybody can see it. Using GitLab and hosting it on our own servers, then it's not only free, but your repositories are private. And since this is all student work, that's a good thing. Okay, so I have logged into GitLab. You should have my account information from me on how to get in here and a URL. This is not going to be the correct URL. This is going to change. So I will send you that too. But anyways, I've logged in, and when I log in, I want to create a new project. So we're going to do that. Okay. Now let's call it class web page, and visibility private means that I am the only one that can see it. We could make it internal, which means that we could give it access to another user. So if you want to share it with me, you could do that. I wouldn't worry about it because I have root access, so actually I can see everything I want anyways. And then public means that anybody in the class can see it, so you can declare this anything you want. I'm going to go ahead and create this project. Might take it a while. This server is a little bit slow. I got to look into increasing the speed on this. Okay, so when you do this, you're probably going to get an error up here that says you need to add an SSH key to your profile. So GitLab and the server where we're going to be putting our stuff, our web page files, need to communicate with each other, and they need to know that, or at least GitLab needs to know it's talking to the right person and it's not getting hacked. So the way it does this is through this SSH key. This is something we're going to get into more in the spring semester, but this gives it's like a password key. So we need to set up an SSH key. So I'm going to go to add an SSH key, and it wants me to paste something here. So I am going to log into, or have logged into, the server where we are doing all of our work. And actually I am in the wrong address, in the wrong spot. So I want to go to the home directory. I'm going to cd to home and list. And okay, so I'm in my home directory, and I don't see anything but SSH keys. Well, they're hidden, so let's try this again. LSAL, A means all, and we'll show you some hidden stuff. And there's a .ssh folder in here, so I'm going to change to that. And do another list. And I'm going to look at this ID underscore RSA pub. So RSA is a form of encryption. RSA encryption is pretty well known. It's been used for a while. It's a form of public key encryption. And this is where the public keys for that encryption are stored. So it's okay for me to show you what these keys are. And I have generated a key. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use Vim. Let's see, I should be able to just Vim ID dot, whoops, RSA pub, and just copy this. And when you highlight and putty, that means you've automatically copied it, so I can just paste that in here and add the key. Now, what if you don't have a key in here? So you may not have a key, and then we're going to have to do something else. Alright, so If you do a Google search for create SSH key, that would be enough, but I went ahead and added GitLab onto my search string. Okay, so this is talking about locating an SSH key pair to see if you've already got one. So I already showed you how to do that. You go to your home directory and look for that folder .ssh, and to do that you have to do the ls-al. You have to remember to use the A. Go into that folder and look at your RSA pub. Okay, so if you don't have anything in there, then this shows you how to generate a new pair. And let's make this bigger so it's actually readable. So here's the key. SSH key generator. We're going to use RSA encryption. Put your email address in here. Doesn't matter which one you use. Actually, Putty has one too, but okay. It's going to ask you. Let's see. I'll just read through this. It's going to ask you about putting in a password. If you just hit enter, then it won't ask you for a password ever again. I always make one of the passwords, so go ahead. I would go ahead and just type in a password, and then that will automatically populate id.rsa.pub, and you're good to go. And then you can just follow the steps that I did here. Okay. So what you really need is this command if you don't already have a key. Alright, so now I want to go to my projects. There we go. This one. And I want to put that project here on the server. So I'm going to cd to var www html. Let me see, it was students and DC. Okay. So now this tells me how. Shoot, I've got information in here I don't want. I'll have to get rid of that. All right, create a new repository. Git clone. So let me make this bigger because it's really hard to read. But you want this git clone. This other stuff is just to make a README file. You don't need that. And I'll paste that in here. So this is going to make a copy of that Git repo, Git repository, inside this folder. Now, see how it's hooked to my SSH key? I have to remember the password. I made that key many years ago, so I hope I don't lose the password because I use it in many different places. I'm also linked to GitHub on here and other places. Okay, so let's see. It says we've cloned an upcoming repository. Let's see if we've done anything here. Do an ls. Okay, so it's made that class web page subdirectory, but there's more. Remember the ls-al? Okay, so when you do that, this dot is actually the directory you're in now. That's the current directory. Dot dot. This means you can go back a page. A directory, and then class web page is a subdirectory. All right, now I go in here, do ls again. Remember, it says an empty repository, so it doesn't look like there's anything in here. It doesn't look like we did anything at all actually when we cloned that repository other than make a subdirectory, but that's actually not true because if I do ls-al, see this git subdirectory. Let's actually go take a look at that and see what's in here. Well, there's all kinds of stuff in here. This is how Git keeps track of your stuff. So you don't really want to get in here and muck about too much, and we won't, but you can play around and look in those directories and look at those files and You know, we could do something like this. What's the worst that could happen? Okay, so this actually, looking at this, this is the URL to the original repository. When you set up a repository locally, then you have a remote branch. So the remote is the one that's up on the web. That's in the GitLab server. So this actually tells me where to go get information from the remote. So it's got origin, master. The origin is the remote. Well, sorry, there's a remote. The remote's origin. This is the branch master. Okay, maybe I should read this before I talk. So the remote is origin. That's the original repository I made through SEGit. I'm sorry, not SEGit. That's the one I use at work. Man, I am dorking this up bad. That's the one I made in GitLab. And then this branch master is the branch I'm on right now. Alright, so let me get out of here. Back up out of that Git directory and do git status. Okay, so I'm on branch master. So remember when I was just in that file, it said something about the master branch. That's the branch I'm on right now. Okay, so now we're going to use this to start making our web page. And we're going to add stuff to the web page, and we're going to track those additions through Git. All right, let me see how much time I got on this video so far. Yeah, 12 minutes. Okay, that's enough. The next video, we're going to start adding things and start actually making some stuff.